I want to talk briefly about saving and exporting. To follow along, go to Working Files, After Effects Projects, and going down to 2201, Saving, Exporting. Now, when you finish a project, you want folks to be able to see your work. And the way you let them see your work is to render a comp. You take a comp and convert it into some kind of video file that people can watch. Well, that's different than saving. You save an entire project, you render a single comp. So let me just clarify saving a little bit. Let's say you're working inside a project here and you make a small change, just like that. When you make that change, the name up here changes to have an asterisk after it. That means you've changed this thing that you've been working on since you last saved it. This is kind of a reminder, a little heads up that you might want to save as you're going forward here. So to simply save an existing project under its current name and its current location, you just save it. And the way you save it is go File, Save. But the easy way to save, of course, is Control-S or Command-S. Control-S in Windows, Command-S in Mac. That's the typical process. So if I just go over here and do Control or Command-S, it's now saved under the current name, the current location, and the asterisk is gone. I'm going to undo that by doing Control or Command-Z, and the asterisk will come back. Now let's say I want to save it in a different location or under a different name. That's a Save As. So I go File, Save As, and then it's kind of redundant. It says Save As again. And if you click on that, then you can save it in a new location or save it under a different name. Saving a copy does basically the same thing. It just puts the word copy in the name, like this. I'll go save a copy, and it automatically has copy there when you save it. Then you can choose wherever you want to put it, and you can take the word copy out, as a matter of fact. So it's basically the same thing as saying save as, just the convenience of having the word copy of in front of it, like that. I can go down here and go File, Save as XML. That's a text file. It's kind of like HTML file. We're not going to work with that one, though, in this course. Finally, you can save a copy that will be compatible with the previous version of After Effects, the CS 5.5 version. Of course, the little gotcha is that things that work only in the CS6 version of After Effects won't work in the CS 5.5 version, like the Ray Trace 3D renderer. Nevertheless, that's very helpful when you're working with folks who just have the previous version. So those are the options when you want to use the Save As command. Increment and Save takes the currently named project and just adds a number after it and saves it in the current location. So if I click on this, it just saves it really quickly. And now, what did it just do? But it saved it as the exact same name, 2, and put that in the folder where it was located before. And I'm going to delete that before we finish this little work here. Let me go down here a little bit farther. Look at export now. Export's a little different. When you export either a comp or the project, so it gets a little confusing. If you choose Add to Render Queue, that's when you take a comp and send it to the render queue, and we'll talk about that in the next lesson. You can also export a comp to the Adobe Flash Player, but I found that this rarely goes smoothly. It's just one of those things that's really hard to get the comp to be exported and have it work smoothly inside the Flash Player. But on the other hand, you can export an entire project to Adobe Flash Professional or to Adobe Premiere Pro. We haven't talked about these two possibilities in this course because this course is focused on After Effects, but if you're working in Flash or Premiere Pro and you want your project to be exported into Flash or Premiere Pro, you really have to be very careful about how you create it to make sure that everything is going to be compatible. I mean, typically when you export a project to Premiere Pro, for example, there are all kinds of After Effects effects that just don't work inside Premiere Pro. So these three final choices here are rarely part of your regular workflow. We will talk about the render queue, though, in the next lesson. So just a reminder, when you save something, you're saving the entire project. When you render something, you're going to render a comp.